Insidious out of the further. Same old, same old. Okay, so let's start with the positive first. One thing I can really respect about this franchise is that the costume designs is always on point. You always have villains that just look so creepy. The makeup is creepy. When you want a character to look creepy and scary, fam, they nail it. They nail it. Like they're so good at making simple characters. Sometimes you just have like a normal looking woman who was like, just creepy little makeup. They're not even wearing much. They're just wearing like, this weird looking makeup or just have a creepy smile thanks to the actors that are playing the characters. But I feel like more so the costume design is just so disturbing, so creepy. Like I feel like one of the biggest selling point to me when it comes to Insidious is the way like the entities or the demons look, because that in my opinion that's literally what sells the film. That's what makes it scared. That's what makes it jump scared so scary and disturbing. Like, if you didn't have like the costume design looking as good as it was and as good as it did in each and every single film that I've seen from this franchise, I don't think it would really hold up as like a franchise, because really and truly what else is there in this film? Like, let's be honest. But it really is also thanks to the actors as well that are playing these characters. Yes, the costume design does do a lot, tell you a lot, tells a story, but you also have to have good actors looking creepy, looking scary. And I do feel like in this film the actors nail it once again in making the entities look creepy. Some of them speak, but not a lot of them. It's just a lot of the face you see, a lot of the facial expressions that they show you that make you just think, oh man, like, you're creepy as hell, fam. I can't lie. Another positive I have is like just the iconic The Further place, where really and truly is a basic type of setting. All you basically have is just the same location they're in, but you just have like, white smoke and like the darkness around them. But I really find that's effective because, like I said, I say this a lot of times, in horror movies, you don't need to do too much. You really don't. You can have a simple premise, a simple setting, but it can still look creepy by adding more elements to it to make it even more creepier. The smoke along with the darkness combined adds to the sort of effect of entities and demons that are surrounding the place. It just makes it more like iconic in my opinion. And arguably, I'd probably say like The Further is definitely like an iconic setting in horror movie, easily, in my opinion, for sure. Imagine like just being dead and being there. That would just be creepy as hell, fam. Like, no thank you. I was also very invested in the main character. She has sort of elements to her where I was kind of like, I don't know, like she wasn't doing much, she wasn't showing much, but like maybe it was because like her upbringing in the film, I don't know. But like it wasn't one of them situations where I was like, oh my god, this woman's annoying. Like I really did like feel for her in this film, especially because she has like a kid. When you have a kid in a movie, once again, horror movies, sometimes it can make you feel more for that the parent. I also really like felt sorry for the daughter as well. I was like rooting for like those two characters in it, because like, come on man, because like we've seen so many of these movies, it was just the kind of same old really. So I wasn't really caring too much on the whole acting and the whole demonic stuff, the whole I'm crazy, it's the same old in it. So, and of course the character Elise, she's pretty much the Superman in this film. She's basically like the face of this like franchise, her being like pretty much Casper the Ghost but in like a horror version. She's always good. Like I can never really say anything bad about her. I feel like her performance is always on point. So when you see her in these films, you kind of like know what to expect. You're gonna get like a good performance, good performance out of her. She's never really like the bad parts of these films. She's always like the good parts of these films. I also thought the pacing was very good, even though I feel like it's like a generic same old type of formula with these like movies and stuff, how it just feels repetitive. I do feel like the pacing did still flow well, because I do feel like, in my opinion, it kicks off kind of straight away, and there definitely is like creepy type of like scenes to where I'm just like, what I mean? It's kind of like, this is kind of creepy. Like, not creepy, but like creepy to where, I was somewhat invested enough to care about it. And you did have like good sequences to where I was like, okay, then I can dig this, I can vibe this, I can, get with this. That kills 2 hours pretty much. That's the best way to describe it. Like I mentioned before in this review, the biggest negative for me in this film is how it just feels repetitive. You have someone in damsel in distress. You have like, at least, making this whole monologue how this entity or this demon, yada yada yada, is coming to get you, blah. It just feels so repetitive to the point where it's like, why do we need this for? Like, why did we really need this film? We didn't need this film. It doesn't necessarily offer anything different. Kind of feels like they're making things up as they go along, which is why it feels like the same old. If you took it out of the franchise, it would make no difference whatsoever, because it's just another family in damsel distress, and you have Elise being a superhero. It doesn't give you much to go with, and that's just kind of the frustrating feeling with this like type of these films. In it, is none of them, like not none of them, like, but most of them over time just starts to feel repetitive, and it feels like it has nothing to really say. So they just try to find like stupid things to talk about or make up or add to where it's like, okay, yeah, we are different because we added this, but really and truly, come on, man. Another negative for me in this film is that I really wasn't digging certain visual scenes when you had close-up shots of like visual nasty scenes to where people's teeth being zoomed in, that was like nasty, rotten, plaque or whatever coming out their teeth. I'm just like, bro, man, why do we need to see this? Like, do we need to see this? Why am I watching this for? Like, there is times where I don't get to this. I don't mind disgusting, gory looking close-up shot scenes in horror movies, innit? But I don't know, I felt for like an Insidious movie, it just didn't offer anything, because Insidious is not really a movie like that where it's typical people to see things like that. It just, to me, it didn't add anything to the story. It didn't benefit the story. I felt it was just nasty for the sake of being nasty, and just for the sake of adding it in the film to be nasty. It was disgusting, fam. I also feel like the jump scares are getting way too predictable. You know, you watch enough of these films, you start to kind of gauge where the jump scenes are going to happen. You know, the jump scares are going to happen. You know that it's not going to be as effective as to how it could be, because you've seen it so many times to where the formula speaks for itself. It's the same formula. They don't really change anything up to make it more creative or to make the jump scares more, I guess, rewarding. One of the highlights of these like franchise is that the jump scares was always one of the best. This franchise has it in like the first movie in it, and just like in a couple of movies in this franchise, but over time it's repetitive. I don't get twisted though. This film wasn't trash. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't like boring or anything. It just felt repetitive, but you still got somewhat entertainment out of it, in my opinion. It just still left me thinking like, why did we need this movie? If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this movie. If you hated it or if you loved it. In a bit, man.